needed to turn off a candle. You don't turn off a candle, you put a candle out. Anyways. La 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 la. So here we go. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host Keegan. And this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And today is Friday the 13th. And wouldn't you happen to guess? I guess I finally got some bad luck on Friday the 13th. Normally, it's not how it goes for me. So, I was in the studio getting everything ready for my live stream, like personal live stream, because mostly Fridays at 6 is supposed to be me, and there are going to be episodes in Fridays at 6 where a guest decided they wanted to be on that day, which I forgot to block it off, and at this point, if they're already there, they're there. However, I was like, all right, let's check my Calendly and make sure that everything is fine. And it's um, I have one for tomorrow. And so here's the thing. If this is someone from Podmatch that said, I want to interview with you, but they did not actually do anything with my form, and they just said, oh, yeah, we'll come on in. Let's see. Dashboard. No, I have uh I have Clay Moffat on the 15th. And then Stephen Neff. Why are you in my lobby whenever you're on for the 21st of June? No, I'm sorry. You are not being let in right now. You are scheduled for the 21st of June. Thank you. I'm not trying to be rude. I am busy. And here we go. So, I did not like doing that. They're going to be very confused and perplexed, probably. And all I can say is check Podmatch. Do you have it scheduled on the 21st? Not this time. And then I have some people that go, I'm going to schedule here. And then they cancel and then they reschedule it for later or sooner. And then I have some people that go, schedule. And then another schedule. And then they don't cancel the other one. Or just, it's so. I have a form to get consent signatures, and on that form is a place for Calendly where they can select the date and time. So I have it to the point to where someone should have to just go to the form, fill it out, select the day and time. That's it. Oh, and sign, and sign. Signatures are important, but I don't know how some people do this. And this is in no offense or anything to anyone because I do the same thing sometimes. But on the host side of things, this is weird. So, Stephen or Dr. Stephen Neff, I am very sorry, but according to Podmatch, we are scheduled for the 21st. I checked my Calendly, I checked my Google Calendar, I checked my Jotform. We are scheduled for the 21st. Let me turn off my AC real quick. Why must you be gone? All right. I'm gonna go get something real quick. Actually, I don't know if I should or not. It's personal experience. It's anecdotal. Anecdotal. It'll be fine. Y'all probably heard the fridge open and some glass clinking, and we're like, oh no, he's back to drink. And then it's like, no. Well, I mean, in a sense of sorts, because any liquid you drink, right? But not alcohol. No. I actually got some stuff on the request, not request, but on the um, not even suggestion, it was a mention of a particular thing that is supposed to help a particular thing, and that particular thing has helped that particular thing for me in varying amounts, and it's very strange. So, um, I mean, I can show you, right, what it is. Like, it's, hang on, let me get over her, and it's this stuff, methylene blue. Now, I'm not going to say anything else besides that and show you that, and that is it. So, um, whatever information you decide to research and all that is all up to you. So, uh, I have given my discretion and advise you that definitely consult a medical professional first. So, what I can say to that is Friday the 13th is normally a day for celebration around here. And why do I say that? Because, well, Friday the 13th, a lot of people think it's unlucky. And it's not necessarily unlucky, but it is if you let it be. And it's unlucky for me today because I do not have money for a new tattoo, a Friday the 13th tattoo. It is almost a yearly thing, and Friday the 13th has at least one every year. It, I, let's actually look that up real quick. I, I can't imagine there not being. Has there ever not been a Friday the 13th? No, there has never been a year without a Friday the 13th. Every year has at least one Friday that falls on the 13th of the month. Would that be the truth if we all had 28 days per month and 13 months? I don't know. Anyways, probably. Well, no. Depends on whenever you start your week, I guess. It, not getting into semantics. Anyways, so Friday the 13th, uh, if you need a quick little, like, side note of something, then let's see. 13 is just supposedly an unlucky number, but it's actually a really good number if you follow along and actually like read into it. I'm not getting into all of that. I'm just going to say for me it's been a luckier number, and Friday the 13th tattoos are kind of a lucky tradition for me. So we've got my little four-leaf clover. We've got my lucky rabbit paw. We've got um, this one, barbed wire and a dagger. And then we've got my latest addition, a little dragon, or whatever you want to call it. Friday the 13th. Which other ones do I have? One, two, um, I think that's it. I don't know. So, anyways, it's not to say it's always every year, every Friday the 13th, I gotta get one, but it's nice. A little bit of needle therapy is always fun, right? So, but what do we do on a day that we find ourselves a little luckier or unluckier than usual? Well, we can usually, what I like to do is, well, ground myself, because grounding myself is really going to sit there and kind of reorientate myself, and that's kind of what have what I've been doing or have had to be doing. That's not how you phrase that. What? That's what I've had to do for the last little while, and for different reasons and everything like that. And while it's hard and difficult to essentially assimilate and integrate everything that I'm learning and doing all at once, it's working, but it's very rocky because ADHD is my friend and also very much not. So it gives me the superpower to do a lot of stuff, and it gives me the debilitating power of not being able to finish a damn one of them. So, um, that stuff should supposedly help. And whenever I'm grounding myself, it makes me a lot more grateful for the things I have around me. And that's something that I don't do as often as I really should. It does stave off, any kind of, what you might call it, inclinations to drink or use things like that. It does help stave them off, but what it does for me more is make me go, I think I like that and I want to do or have more of that. So how do I do that? Because back in the day, whenever I was underneath the thralls of addiction and everything, it was literally just I didn't want anything but to not exist. And so I would do whatever it took to not feel anything. But now it's quite the opposite. And the thing is that my body itself has not really caught up to where my brain's at. And even my brain is like, it's weird. Like, if you think that your brain works as one whole organ all the time and makes sense, it doesn't. So we just kind of have to go with the flow. And sometimes that's really difficult, and sometimes it's really not so much easy, but intuitive, I'll say. So whenever I dealt with addiction and especially alcoholism for the better part of a decade, or rather a decade, however you want to phrase it, and a plus or minus a year after a decade isn't really that much, let's be honest. But whenever I was torturing my body for the better part of 10 years or whatever, my body remembers all of that. It remembers it all. It remembers the moments that I kept my mouth shut on things that I should have spoke up on. It remembers the amount of times that I would hold back from just being myself. It remembers all the times that I would take that extra 3 minutes to not walk in the front door because I was afraid of walking in the front door. And it remembers all of it. And that's the thing. Every single breath, my body remembers that kind of stuff. And if you deal with trauma, if you deal with PTSD, if you deal with any kind of mental anguish, you know what I'm talking about. So, what do we do whenever it's debilitating, it's paralyzing, and it's like, I want out of those chains? And I've spoke to many people about this, and it's breathing. Like, ugh. There's, I've talked to, I don't know, I think four different breath coaches, and they all kind of say the same thing, but in different ways. And what I love about that is that some people will vibe and connect right away to what that person is saying and how they're saying it, and then some people won't. Some people will get what the other person gets, some people won't, so on and so forth. And for me, it's a conglomeration. Like, I need all the knowledge and perspectives of everything I can get because then I can go, ooh, I can not necessarily cherry pick, but I can sit there and say, ooh, let's try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, experiment. And that's the thing is that everyone and their experiences are entirely different. So I can't necessarily say that everything that happens to someone and their experience and so on and so forth is going to be the same thing as it is for me. So that's why I fell into addiction in the first place, was because, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and try it and see what happens. But little did I know I had addiction run on both sides of my family, or at least some kind of substance or just addiction behavior, I would assume. And that's the thing. I didn't know that at the time. Had I known that, I may have still done it because I'm just that hard headed. So, it does kind of suck. But what do you do whenever your body is remembering all these bad things and all you want, all I want is to breathe, feel kind of relaxed, and just like present, like in my own body, and not afraid of it, not afraid of what's around me, not sitting there feeling this weird internal pressure to perform to expectations of a God I'll never meet, you know? So, how do I do that? And it's through breathing. It really, 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 really is. Because whenever I take those deeper breaths, it gives my body that small bit of reprieve, that smallest bit. And that is the little tiny bit that I would hold on to. That saying, don't hold your breath. I never understood what it meant. And I don't know if I still do. And I think that that's something that is a saying you're going to have to really experience and really get the grasp of to really understand what exactly it means for you. So, whenever I hear don't hold your breath, what I first pictured was always sitting there, someone going like, right? Like a little kid holding their breath until they get their way. They're pouting. And I don't know if that is like entirely how it was supposed to be, but for me, I notice that with every inhale I do, while I'm doing some kind of physical exertion or stuff like that, I will hold on to that last little bit of breath. I will hold on to it, and it's just, but I can push it out just, but whenever I take another breath in, sometimes I'll hold on to it a little bit more, then a little bit more, then a little bit more, because I'm getting ready for something. My body is getting ready for action, and I'm not. And that's one of the things too is that my breathing got so weird because of podcasting, because having to be next to a mic all the time. I have a large nose, point in case. And whenever I breathe in, like I'm loud and no one wants to hear. Whenever I'm talking to them, you don't want to hear that. I had to do it for you, and I probably lost some people just going like, "Ooh, click." So that's the thing. I had to adjust my breathing and everything for recordings, and it screwed me because instead of taking that full breath in, I'll do, hmm, yeah, I got some air. I didn't get a full lungful, but it also tells my body that, all right, in my mind a little bit that, all right, we can't relax, we can't think, and that's the hard part. I don't know about you, but like, I do have a brain going 24/8, right? 24/8, or is it 36/5? Something like that. But it's going all the time. 36/5, if you don't get it, okay, cool. Um, but yeah, I'm always thinking, I'm always overthinking. And that's kind of the thing too, is that it's like 8 different train tracks going crisscrossing each other, and all this trains are like bullet trains going top speed, and they're barely avoiding each other, and everyone on them is all screaming. And then there's also a circus somewhere, right? Like that is inside my head all the time. I don't necessarily know which train I'm going to hop on at which point, but sometimes it's just like, oh, hey, here we are. I'm going to enjoy it as best as I can. Oh, crap. And there goes my brain. But whenever I'm sitting there and I'm holding on to, got it. Whenever I'm sitting there holding on to those little bits of breath, my brain is waiting in anticipation. It's waiting for what's the next strike? What is the next hiccup? What's the next mistake I'm going to make? What's this? What's that? So on and so forth. Like, and it really does me a disservice because that speed of thought and everything will derail any constructive thought that I have because, as we all know, it's easier to destroy something than it is to build it up. So it's it kind of sucks sometimes, but being able to take those deep breaths or just a full breath really does help out a lot, especially for me because I don't know, my metabolism's high. I've got a lot of energy all the time, and breath is the fuel for the body. Without breath, we wouldn't be here. So I always have kind of thought that like breath in is kind of like NOS for a car, right? Just a big boost, like a deep breath, a proper breath. But that wasn't proper because I wasn't full, you know? And I've spoke to some of these people that just really get breath work, and it's oh so slowly creeping into my subconscious of like, got to breathe, breathe, breathe. And I'm really good at telling myself I am because I'm alive, so I'm breathing just fine. But I'm really not. Because again, I'm holding myself up to this weird expectation of some like almost moral report card, and I've got to get all A's on it, otherwise I'm done for. Don't ask me what exactly that's about. It's just something I've always dealt with whenever I little, itsy bitsy. Like, those were some of my first memories where I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And I don't, like, I, I don't belong here. It's plain and simple. Those are some of my first memories. I don't know if I'll ever get those out of my head. And it really does make me hold my breath a lot, you know? Um, and season moments like this where it's like, oh shit, I just got real and vulnerable. And yeah, it sucks. It does. Will those thoughts ever go away? I don't know. Maybe not. But the voices are getting smaller. And the smaller the voices get, the easier it is to do course corrections. I'm not sitting there trying to say, oh, I did a wrong turn. Wrong. No, I'm not trying to do that because hearing the word wrong tells me that I was wrong. I was bad. I did the not good thing, right? And while that's true ish, it's not necessarily correct either. While I may have made mistakes and stuff, a lot of the times they aren't mistakes if I knew what the consequence was going to be from that action. And a lot of the times, yes, I have made plenty of mistakes. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to excuse that kind of stuff. But what I can say is that it it's just something that happens. It's oh, and my brain just did the thing. It went away. Come back, thought. Um, and mm, I don't know. See what I mean? Like, I some part of my subconscious went, "Hey, we're getting too real for everyone out there. Let's not." And so I'm like, "Oh no." Hmm. And what does that say about me? It says that a lot of me doesn't trust parts of me to even cry and open up and be vulnerable. So, yeah, it does suck. Trust me. Whenever you don't trust yourself enough to be able to cry whenever you're alone, oh, you're in some deep, dark spaces. And I've been in those spaces. I'm getting out of them slowly but surely. But it takes a lot of work, and it's consistent work too, just like breath work. So I can sit there, I can breathe while I'm talking and stuff. And while my guest is talking, I can take deep breaths and it'll ground me. But I can also do that in my day to day. Instead of getting mad at someone cutting me off because they didn't use a blinker, then I can just sit there and go, I if if I'm angry, the easier one to do is that quick like puff of air out the nose, right, and just ow. That was more my throat. As soon as I started to do that, I could tell that my sinuses were not going to take that very kindly. So if you got a stuffy nose, that one's probably not good. It may just make you more mad, or it may make you laugh. I don't know. It kind of depends on the person and the day, I guess. But that can be a little something that can do a quick course correction. That's what the thought that I was on. Rewind. So that was the thing, is that course correction. If I tell myself that I was bad, then I'm not going to listen to myself when I tell myself that I'm good either. And saying that I made mistakes is, or that I did bad whenever I didn't really necessarily know or anything like that, it really does hurt. And it hurts me telling myself that kind of stuff. Like, I fucked up. And I didn't mean to curse right there. Retrieving sanity is both curse friendly and uncurse friendly. Like, take your pick. We have after dark hours and we have radio hours. Like, we're in the liminal space right now. We're in between guest world and solo world. So that is kind of the thing. Like, course corrections are. Oh, course corrections are that. They are a correction. They aren't necessarily a redo because I can't redo a whole lot of things. I can sit there and I can say, I'm going to do this a little bit different. Sure. Or I can say, I'm going to go and try this. Maybe not. Like, just there's course corrections in every little thing that I do. And again, a course correction action could be that I'm going to do some kind of breath work because someone really made me mad on the highway. It could be something like that. But I I personally don't know when or how I'll be able to get those very early thoughts out of my head because those are the ones that haunt me. Those are the ones that they're so, let me put it this way. I know that they are my oldest memories or some of because it doesn't have a voice to it. It just has a feeling to it. And I that's it. Like, I don't know if that is supposed to mean anything, but there's not a necessarily like predominant voice, like the inner monologue thing. So it's just a feeling. Like, I feel so unworthy and just not supposed to be here, and just so yeah, whenever people are like, yeah, you're doing good, it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, and part of me is like, how much of this is a front, and a lot of it is like, it's not. It's just you're not used to being you. And that's the hard part, right? Like, how much of myself do I really know to say that that is me? And I don't. Like, that is the sad truth. I don't, but I'm figuring it out. And you would think at like almost 33, I never thought I'd get this old. I would kind of have it figured out, but I mean, that's another point too, is I never thought I would get to this point in life. What's the point of getting to know myself if I'm not going to live very long, right? So, I mean, I never put that two and two together. Damn it. I'm really out on myself here today. Um, and that's not a bad thing, that's not a bad thing. If I can air out my own like dirty laundry, if you want to call it that, then no one can use that over my head as blackmail and whatnot. Like, yeah, definitely there can be instances where it's like, you did this in your past, or you talk about this on your podcast. Now we're not going to do that with you. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Well, you want to shame the past? Cool, good on you. I don't want to work with you anyways. So, it's one of those things. Like, in shaming the past, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying forgive the past, man, it's all good. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's definitely like people, places, and things that can change, that can alter someone entirely in a moment and make them who they're not. And there's so many variables on anything that you can't sit there and go, oh, that person was an addict 10 years ago, so they're still bad. Or, oh, that person treated me a little wrong the other day, and so they're just the worst person ever. And it can't, doesn't work like that. So, for myself, I know that I have a lot of work to do. I'm not going to deny that. And I'm going to say that a lot of my podcast work is inner work on myself, figuring out how I'm going to be the best me in the day to day. Because on the podcast, I can be the podcast. Like, I am a Leo, I am Tanner Keegan Reed. If you know me, I have a shit ton of energy for days. I usually try to be pretty optimistic, and I'm an extrovert. Like, I'm an introverted extrovert, and that's another thing. I love talking to people. I love doing things and stuff like that. But there's a huge part of me that absolutely does not, because I'm absolutely terrified of people. So make sense of that. It sucks. And whenever I was in Nehemiah, I did a maladaptive trait test, and my number one thing was with a whopping 98% social isolation. And whenever I do my Myers Briggs test, I'm like a ENFP T, I think, like an adventurer or something, like someone that is extremely extroverted. And my maladaptive trait is isolation. Yeah, I'm a lot of the times I'm miserable. And it's not so much that I'm miserable now, it's that there's parts of me that are wanting um not attention, but they're needing recognition. They're needing interaction, I suppose. And sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. And that's another part of working on myself. I can breathe. See, I haven't done an actual good breath in a little bit, but while I'm breathing, I can sit there and I can do a quick tally of things that I need or don't need, things I've overthought, and just it does a lot of freaking good. But one of those things is trying to be more social. And one of those things is trying to remember birthdays. I'm not very good with birthdays. So, my mother, thankfully, reminded me that today is my uh, first nephew's birthday. So, Z, Merry Womb Evacuation Day to the mortal plane of existence, my little dude. And I already called you. I told you that, and you had no idea what I just said. And I said, "Don't worry about it. You'll know it when you get older." So, I told him happy birthday. Talked to him for a little bit. That was really fun. But it was also like I don't know how to talk to an 11-year-old. That's my nephew, right? Like, what do I talk about? Star Wars? I mean, yeah, that could have been a thing. But he was with his friends and stuff, having fun. I'm not about to interrupt him all day, like for that. Like, let's make a weird, awkward phone call. Happy birthday. I don't know what to talk about. Like, you're 11, and I am not. So, uh, but that little dude does remind me a lot of me. And for my older sister, good. um, but I hope he gets into band. I think he would really enjoy percussion. But no, that's the thing is that like every little thing goes into mental health. And that's the thing is that my mental health has been absolute, pardon the French, shit for the better portion of my life. And if I've ever seemed like I was holding it together, I wasn't. I'm really good at putting on a face. Really good. And some of you probably see right through it. And some of you don't say anything about it either. So, what does that say? And what does that say about me whenever I see someone and I can tell that they're not okay and I don't do anything? That says a lot about me too. So, a lot of the time we just don't say anything because we feel like it's not our place. Hmm, interesting, right? Well, it's true, it's also untrue because a lot of the time it kind of makes you go like, oh well, if they cared, they would reach out, or I should reach out, I should do something, or but I don't want to offend them, this, that, or another. And so then we get into that whole caring about what other people think or care, and it's funny. It's like you can tell that someone is not doing well. Like people that can tell that I'm not doing well, a lot of the time they won't say anything about it. They won't confront me about it. Why? I've heard because they're afraid of what I'll do. I've heard it's because they don't know what to say, and I've heard it's because they're just afraid of me in general. And so parts of me is like, I don't know how you can necessarily be afraid of me. And then there's times where it's like, oh yeah, that's how. And it's little moments like that because I've not had good mental health practices. I've not had any idea of what mental health was, emotional regulation, things like that. And it did lead to a lot of hurt emotions all around the board, especially upon myself. And so now I have to sit here and kind of play pick me up. I have to play pick up everything up. And it sucks. But I have an amazing wife that really does sit there and bring out the best in me, even when I don't want it myself. and she's really good at that. And she's really good at handling me at some of my worst. And I don't tell her thank you enough. So that's another thing, is that you should definitely tell your partner or best friend and best friends and family and anyone else that helps you during rough times, even if it's like small, like everyday stuff, like just thanks and I love you, because we never really know what's going to happen in 5 minutes. Like, yeah, we like to say 5 minutes is just right around the corner. But how many times have you sat there and been like, all right, it's been 5 minutes, it's been 30 seconds, stuff like that. So it really does kind of put a lot of stuff into perspective whenever you have conversations like with Larry that I had yesterday. And it was a really, really good one. And I could tell that he was still healing a whole lot. And he really got it whenever I mentioned that, like, you don't really get rid of the pain from loss, you just kind of grow around it. And that's another thing, is that I haven't really felt all of my pain of loss from years ago. And you kind of think I would have. You think I would have, like, felt it all the way out and stuff? Nah. Sorry, that was a legitimate burp that just sprang out of nowhere. Um, and it's just like, hmm. So I have to feel it out. I have to figure it out. And I do have some ideas and ways that I want to go about doing it, because I have access to a lot of great people that I can talk to. And my only wish is that people actually, like, listen to this, not the ramblings of a madman. Like, sure, because I'm trying to provide some useful insight into my own personal experiences that otherwise leave me crippled. And I have my experiences, I have my stuff, but I'm able to speak to all these amazing people, and they bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to everything that I either have a slight idea about, a little bit of an idea about, a good idea about, or I feel like we may be on par ish, but at the same time, they're out there actively engaging in it and stuff, so they're much more fluent in it than I am. I'm just like, oh, like, let me get the rust off of there. Like, yeah, so no. But that's the thing, is that everyone has some amazing insights that not everyone is going to get. Not everyone is going to hear the same episode and be like, "Oh, yeah, I got that." I've heard some people say they got two totally different things out of the same episode from the same person, and that was kind of funny. But the thing is that in a way they were still the same message, just different how they got it. It's kind of weird. But what we can do is just really support each other. And I'm not saying like, oh, hey, your friend is like calling you up for like $200 because they need this, that, or another, or so on and so forth, and you haven't heard from that friend in 2 years. Like, like, I know that road. Maybe they do need help. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I'm not the one to pass that judgment, and I'm not going to judge. If someone comes to me asking for help, I'm going to say, how can I help you? If it is monetary, I will say, I will definitely help you if I can, but that is like the way that I need help. So I, like, it's one of those, like, gotta film, like, patch my roof before I can patch yours kind of thing. And so I will gladly help out anyone and everyone however I can with time, experience, and like speaking. But that's the thing, is that we don't offer ourselves the time to do that, to work on ourselves, because we're just so busy with everything else. Again, I had a nightmare a few weeks ago, and not like crazy nightmare. I think I've already told this before, but it wasn't a crazy nightmare, right? It wasn't like, oh, super bad stuff. No, what it was, I was just doing a normal day to day thing, and that was the crappy part too. It was like a pretty normal day in my dream, and I was trying to do this and that and this and that and that. And then I realized I was about to wake up and I didn't get half the stuff done that I wanted to do in my dream. And so as I knew I was starting to wake up, I just sat there screaming in my head, just like, ah. And then I woke up and in my head, still screaming. And I was like, oh, no. Well, I don't have enough time in the physical world and I don't have enough time in the spiritual dream world. Like, this sucks. I just, I want to do so much. I want to do so much, like, help so many people. And, like, y'all don't believe me. Hmm. I don't know if I have it on this computer. I know I have it on my other one from, it's something that my mom sent. Um, it is on my other laptop, but it's little notes and stuff that I wrote whenever I was a little kid. And it was like, I want to be a dentist so that I can take care of all the homeless people. And my mom was like, do you remember writing that? And I'm like, no. Like, I remember like having thoughts like that, but I don't remember actually writing that out. And it does make me kind of laugh because it's like I need a dentist so bad. I should have been my own dentist. But I I had those really high ambitions to help people ever since I was little. You know, that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't like I want to make a lot of money so that I can have a yacht. It was I want to make a lot of money so that I can give it to other people and help the world. And that's still where I'm at with this. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make the world a different place or a better place by trying to have conversations about mental health and breathing and addiction recovery and let's see, dopamine, star children. I could go on. I really could, but I don't because I feel like if I leave something out, I'm going to upset someone. So I just want to say the first like few things that popped up in my head, pretty much the most recent conversations. Um, but I can only do so much as one person, and like that's the thing. Like I wish I had I in like a co-host would be fine. You know, like it'd be fun to have a regular banter conversation instead of like interview-esque style. Which, by the way, I think I'm going to start doing the game show part at the very beginning because then it gives us a springboard for later, right? I think that's going to be good. We're going to try it out next. Um, but there goes that thought. Shit. Um, I can hear people in the hallway right here. So like that's the only other thing I don't like about this apartment. Like it, like hall, breezeway, and then open stuff right here. So this corner actually gets pretty noisy. Like it's not that bad though. Honestly, I do love our apartments. They do us very well, and I like it. Like every now and then we do have, I don't know which neighbor it is, but they've got a bass in their apartment that's like, and like you can hear it through this sometimes. So not too much since I got this, but the Mono PD 200X definitely, which is weird, right? But anyways, I was like, what is that sound? That's my beard on the microphone. Sorry. Um, and that's one thing. Like I wanted to do like live streams and stuff all over the place because it'll help get the brand out. And I'm a creative of sorts. I have the most fun recording and talking and interacting with people than I do the editing. Now, don't get me wrong. I do have some fun editing. You can ask Jordy because she's seen me just sitting here just dancing while I'm editing and stuff. And while editing is the hard part of everything, it is very much worth it because it does help me cement a lot of things in my head. Because I can have a conversation with someone and I will get a large gist of it, but sometimes I will forget the tinier details that interlock those gist parts. So going back through, it's like, oh yeah, that's that, that's that, that's that. And then Even though I had the interview with Andy Y. West not too long ago, she had just recently left a comment on the aftertake, which was pretty cool. I don't think anyone else has left a comment on their own aftertake. So I'm really glad that she liked it because she said that it was such an awesome summary of our conversation. And I'm sitting there listening to it because I was like, what exactly did I talk about? Because I've had a lot of conversations since then. And it turned out that I was like, oh yeah, like I was actually spot on for that whole thing for almost 11 minutes. And I'm like, oh yeah, if I had that much of a conversation that I'm kind of forgetting, even though I recapped it and re listened to it, it's like, fuck. How many people am I going to do a disservice by this, by trying to just get their story? And I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do anyone a disservice by going like, "Oh yeah, I got you on camera, I got you recorded, you're online now, so I don't have to ever think about you again." And I don't want to do that. But if I get three, four, or 500 guests, I'm not going to be able to remember every single one. However, I can make an effort to do some kind of thing where it's like, "Hey, I remember your face. I remember parts of our conversation. I hope you're doing well." Kind of thing, you know. I never wanted to get to the point to where it's like, "Who are you? Did have we talked before?" I never wanted to get there. I never wanted to get there. And with my memory, it'll probably get there faster than I want it to. So it's like I just gotta roll with the flow. Flow with the roll. I like that one better. Flow with the roll. It has more of a like twang to it. Is that right? Twang? Flow with the roll? Fr- Froll. 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 Is that a word? Hang on. D. Define. Froll. Define. Froll. The word frowl doesn't exist in the English language. Neither does that. It's possible you're thinking of the word frown, which means to contract the brow in displeasure or thought, or to look displeased. There's frill, a gathered, pleated, or bias cut fabric edging used on clothing. B, a strip of paper curled at one end and rolled to be slipped over the bone end. Okay, no. Frawl. Go and frawl. Yeah. Flow with the roll. Frawl. I don't know if that is going to be something I remember eventually, but it may be. So, with this, all I want to say is that to any creative type out there, keep making your stuff. I don't care what it is. TikToks, Instagram lives, just paintings that you take a picture of, or mosaics, or paper art like origami, or like leaves and like Mosh Posh leaves or pinatas and stuff like that. I don't know. Like if you make something, keep doing it, and why don't you share it? Like that's one of the things too is that I have a lot of creative friends and I want to showcase some of their stuff behind me. And I think it might be easier if I got a green screen so I could just like green screen back here every now and then I could just throw in their creative work. But at the same time, it's like, would that really fit? Like, I don't know. I have a lot of things and ideas that I want to do with the podcast, but trying to implement them all and get them all in place and do it all is difficult. But at the same time, I don't know if it's because I'm trying to jump the gun and do everything because I'm impatient with my ADHD, or if it's because I think nothing's working and I'm not giving it enough time because I'm being impatient. Breathe me, breathe. So, anyways, with that, I don't know how many people actually watch on the live stream Fridays, you know. And some of you are probably going to be like, you had a guest in the lobby and you turned them away. And I did for once because I do not have the spoons to give someone the proper attention and like have them be welcomed openly to where I will remember all of what we talked about or most of what we talked about. I wanted to check if 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 the Calendly or my Google Calendar or any of those things had it to where it was like, yeah, it is today. I would have been like, Okay, here we go. It's folly on me for not double checking my schedule. And we can do this. We can also do folly on me for, let's see, Calendly, the 21st, Dr. Stephen Neff. So I don't. How did you schedule yourself for the 13th and the 21st and cancel the Friday the 13th one, but still show up, but still not have yourself rescheduled from the 21st? I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, I didn't reach out because it was not me that rescheduled. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do my solo live stream. And then I'm sitting here getting ready, and it was like, someone's here? Like, and it is about to be either an awkward moment of like turn them away or like tell them to their face like, hey, what's going on? And I could have done that, but we were already live, and I'm not about to have them come on live and be like, no, can't have you. Bye. So, and that's another thing too, is that I'm going to have to do things intentionally as a podcast host that I do not want to do in normal situations. But it's because this actually is a business. Like, it's the weirdest thing. It is. Uh, ah. And then I'm always worried about making the right or wrong decision. I don't know what's going to be right. I don't know what's going to be wrong until I do it. And then even then, I don't know until way later. So it's like, shut up, stomach. So I'm hungry. Anyways, with that being said, we're at 51, 46, and 6:53. We got just a few minutes left. So we're going to have a, um, let's see. All right, hang on. Let's see. Ooh. All right, so here we go. I'm about to play Wheel of Inner Saboteur. Spin the wheel. Face the voice. Reframe the script. Concept. This is a reflective, therapeutic, and entertaining solo segment where I, the host, spin a wheel, real or metaphorical, and land on an inner saboteur, a self critical or sabotaging thought that many people struggle with. Example, you're not doing enough. You're too much. People are going to see you fail, etc. You then walk through the following steps. 1. Name it. Identify the saboteur and describe what it sounds like when it talks. 2. Claim it. Share a time it showed up for you recently. 3. Tame it. Reframe it using a tool, self-compassion, logic, or humor. And 4. Rename it. Give it a silly nickname, Debbie Doomcaster or Sir Fails a Lot, to disempower it. So, how am I going to do this? Oh. So, if you haven't been watching the show lately, I'm trying to implement a game show segment. And so here we go. I have to play my own games because otherwise it's not really a podcast anymore, I guess. I don't know. And really, this is practice because also at the same time, a lot of my guests aren't going to have any idea that this is happening now. A lot of them said, I'm a big fan of your show, or I've checked out a couple of episodes. I don't know if they've listened to an episode in its entirety, but it's about to get to the point to where it's going to find I'm going to find out real fast if they listen to it or not, because this is not normal. So, anyways, this is practice for me on both the presentation and the uh, actual like implementation of, because there's also going to be times where it's like I'm going to be part of it with them instead of just asking questions. So here we go. All right, solo friendly. Oh, let my audience submit. Oh, my birds. I need to feed my birds. I'll get them here in a minute. Or yeah, I'll get them soon. Okay, so it says to have my audience submit their inner saboteur scripts for you to pull from a jar or digital list. You can even rate them on how convincing or dramatic they are. Man. Okay, so I don't have anyone live. or anything. Go figure. Um, it's weird how it says like +2 up here, and I'm like, but there's no one here. So, okay. We're going to go ahead and give me one to do. Please. Gotta say please and thank you. So, cue game show music or dramatic wheel spinning sound effect. Okay, here we go. Media. We're going to do, and we're going to spin the wheel and. All right, it's time for another round of Will of Inner Saboteur. Because who needs external haters when you've got a perfectly toxic committee in your own head? Da da da. Right. So, and today's lucky saboteur is. Oh, actually, can I do that? What happens if I do this? That's pretty dramatic. You're falling behind. Oh, classic. Yeah. The one that says you should be further along by now. It's subtle at first, like, why don't you have a house yet? Then it escalates to everyone else your age is doing more with less and looking better doing it. Name it. All right. So name it, huh? What should I call falling behind? Falling behind. I want to name it. So, do I want to, how do my rules work on this one necessarily? Name it, claim it, tame it, rename it. So name it, then rename it. Okay. So name it. You're falling behind. Why did I do that voice? Oh, who was? Oh, from is it Miss Gretchen or something from Monsters Inc? You're falling behind. Yeah, that's who it is. Mean secretary. That's it. Mean secretary. Let's call this one mean secretary. She's got a gavel and a red pen just ready to mark everything wrong that I've been doing. Claim it. All right. Let's see. I heard Madam Secretary. But today, yeah, today. Honestly, whenever I saw there's not anyone in the live audience, right there, immediately, you're falling behind, and I was like, damn. So there's that, and then I can look at everyone else and look at the other podcasters and small YouTube channels and stuff out there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am way falling behind. Okay, tame it. But here's what I know. Okay, so tame it. Reframe it using a tool: self-compassion, logic, and humor. So we're going to use a little bit of self-compassion and logic on this one. I'm falling behind. No, I'm really not, because there's not a finish line that I set in the first place. And two, that finish line could be moved even if I did set it. Three, no one is really judging me on the success or failure of this podcast necessarily. And if they are, they haven't told me. And number four, if I were falling behind and some of the people that are ahead because they're not a good person, then I would much rather be behind, So that's a really good way of looking at it. Now, rename it. So I already forgot the name. Gretchen Secretary. So rename it. Give it a silly nickname. We're going to call it Gretulator. Yeah, you get it? Gretcha, like regret, and Gretchen, like the monster lady name. I don't know if that's actually her name. I'm just going off of what sounds like the name that would fit that. Don't ask me why it's Gretchen. If your name's Gretchen and you're listening to this ever in the future, I'm sorry. So, uh, yeah, I mean, who knows? That was a really rough draft. I'm not happy with it. But we are at the end of this episode. And see what I mean? Doing a little bit of a game show segment like that for everyone can be a good way to either end it, but I think I'm going to do it at the very beginning now. Why? Because help break the ice and it will give them ideas of like, oh yeah, I said this at the very beginning, so I want to elaborate on that or something. I don't know. I want to explore it and see how it goes, and I have no idea what it's going to look like. So what I can say is thank you for watching. If you did watch a rambling of a madman for an hour, thank you. Leave a like, leave a comment, please, and hopefully you can breathe a little bit better too, and maybe just trust yourself a little bit. So with that, we're going to end it here. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you just have some full, deep breaths. Give it to yourself and allow space for those around you to have the same. So, with that, I thank you very much. This is Keegan on Retrieving Sanity. You can check us out Fridays at 7 a.m. on WDJY 99.1 FM. And you can also find us on Pacific Coast TV, Open Denver Open Media, and Fairfax Public Access, Channel 36, I believe. So, yeah, we're making some waves in the mental health community. We are making some waves in the podcasting community. Somehow, way, shape, or form, I don't know, but it's happening. So, woo! Maybe I'll be on some other podcast that actually like gets the message of trying to help people out there more. So who knows? We'll see. But anyways, with that being said, I'm going to end it here so that you can have the rest of your evening to yourself. I'm going to get ready for I don't know what. So here we go. Much love. See you later. Shalom.